Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Teacher Fayyazuddin Ahmad here. Good morning to all of you. Hope you're doing fine. Today we are going to start part 4 of the chapter 20 from your Gareth Williams' new biology textbook. The chapter is Humans and the Environment. This is the part 4. The page numbers are from 329 to 331. Can you please open the page 329 of your biology textbook? We'll start with the deforestation. We all know forests help us in balancing the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. The forests help us to keep the correct balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in our atmosphere, taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen during photosynthesis. What happens in deforestation? Lot of trees are being cut; they are removed. When so many trees are being removed, then the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere will increase. So this increase in the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere can cause many consequences. We'll study about it later on. This is a picture showing deforestation. The forests are being cleared off. They are being cut. What are the causes? Why is this process of deforestation occurring? What is the cause of deforestation? What are the different reasons? So first one is demand for timber for the building materials. Demand for timber as building materials. First cause. Second one is demand for paper for newsprint, photocopiers, printers, and office consumption. There is a lot of demand for paper. So because of the demand for paper, deforestation is taking place. Also, another cause is the clearing of land for farms, cattle ranches, and plantations, and also for the construction of new roads and towns. For all these purposes, the land is cleared off. It means the forest is removed. The deforestation is taking place. And the next cause is to provide firewood and charcoal as fuels. So for providing the fuels, the forest needs to be cut. So these are the four. These are the causes for deforestation. Number one, demand for timber, demand for paper, the clearing of land for different reasons, for different purposes, and providing firewood and charcoal as fuels. This is the picture showing different causes of deforestation. Here, firewood like timber, charcoal, and firewood, and this is for industries, and this is for agriculture purposes like for farms, etc. And this is for overgrazing also. This is one of the causes, and the developmental projects like building new roads, construction of dams, and for the development of the new towns, etc. So these are the various causes of deforestation. And what are the consequences of deforestation? What happens as a result of deforestation? Let us see. The first consequence is increased level of carbon dioxide due to deforestation, causing global warming and the chances of disastrous changes in climate. The increased level of carbon dioxide in atmosphere can cause global warming and serious changes in climate. And the next one is soil erosion and floods. Because there are no roots to bind the soil together, now it's very easy for the soil to erode. So soil erosion occurs, and during which the important nutrients are lost, are washed away, and also this process can lead to floods. Third consequence could be the destruction of rainforest means extinction of thousands of species of plants and animals. It's one of the serious consequences. It leads to the extinction of the thousands of species of plants and animals. So these are some of the consequences of deforestation. This picture shows us the various consequences of deforestation. Here, global warming, drought, the animal and plant life being affected, pollution, desertification and shortage of food, and also flooding. We see so many consequences because of the deforestation. Then what are the measures to curb this deforestation? There are some measures to be taken to at least balance these effects. Number one is reforestation. It involves replanting of native trees and it is important that plantations do not replace the native forests. So the priority should be for the native forests. It involves replanting of native trees by giving importance to the native forests. Then second one is sustainable management of forests. It would involve removing trees but allowing natural replacement or planting of native species. So we need to have a sustainable management. Sustainable management. If one side, if the forests are being cut, the other side, new varieties of native species should be introduced. The natural replacement should be simultaneously going on. The third measure is recycling and energy conservation. By the process of recycling, we need to cut lesser number of trees. So the demand for new sources of timber, it falls down because of the recycling and energy conservation. So this would result in reduced need for new sources of timber. So these are the important measures to curb the deforestation. The first measure is reforestation by giving priority to the native trees and native forests, and the second one should be the sustainable management of forests, and the third one is recycling and energy conservation. Next topic is the greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane. These form a blanket in the atmosphere which maintain the balance between the incoming heat radiation from solar sources and outgoing heat from the Earth's surface. By keeping this balance, it maintains a temperature that suits the life. It maintains the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere which suits the life. We'll again see this balance. The balance is because of the greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane, these are the greenhouse gases. They balance the incoming heat from solar energy and outgoing heat from the Earth's surface, which is mostly in the form of infrared radiations. By doing this, they keep our atmosphere at a temperature that allows life to exist. Without these gases, it would be very difficult to maintain the Earth's atmosphere temperature. These are the greenhouse gases. Some of the greenhouse gases are here mentioned here. Carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, ozone. These are the greenhouse gases. We can see the effect of greenhouse gases. In this atmosphere, we have greenhouse gases. This is the radiation from sun being absorbed by the Earth's surface, and the Earth's surface gets warm. Some of the radiation is being reflected into the space. Some of the solar radiation is reflected by the Earth here. Some of the radiation is reflected into the space, and some of the infrared radiation, we can see this here, what happens to the infrared radiation that is emitted by the Earth's surface. Some of the infrared radiation passes through the atmosphere, some is absorbed by the greenhouse gases and re-emitted in all directions by the atmosphere. This re-emitted radiation, it maintains the temperature, it makes the atmosphere get warm up. The effect of this is to warm Earth's surface and the lower atmosphere. The effect of re-emitted radiation is to warm up the Earth's surface and the lower atmosphere. This is the actual greenhouse effect. We will see it in our next topic also. Greenhouse gases, again, the man-made gases like CFCs and nitrogen oxides have built up along with the greenhouse gases, which we studied in our earlier session also. The chlorofluorocarbons from refrigerators and air conditioning, etc., they are being released into the atmosphere, and also nitrous oxides in the exhaust fumes of the vehicles. These gases are going and adding up to the greenhouse gases. So the purpose, by adding up to the greenhouse gases, this would absorb more heat, causing more increased temperatures of the Earth. The next gas is carbon dioxide, as we just studied. Because of the deforestation, lot of carbon dioxide is building up in the atmosphere, and also because of the burning of the fossil fuels, the carbon dioxide is also adding up to the atmosphere. Here, expansion of rice growing and cattle rearing has led to significant increase in methane. The other greenhouse gas is methane, but this green methane is also increasing. It is also building up along with the greenhouse gases which are existing early from prior. So how they are increasing, how this methane is increasing? It is increasing due to the rice growing. There is an anaerobic condition, an anaerobic process being found in the rice fields, because of which methane is released into the atmosphere, and also the stomachs of cattle, they belch out the methane. So methane is belched out of the stomachs of cattle and is released as a result of anaerobic conditions found in rice fields. So these are adding up to the increased levels of methane in the atmosphere. And the third one is the rotting material in landfill sites is also adding to increase methane in the atmosphere. So these are the main causes of increased gases being built up with the greenhouse gases. First one is the man-made gases like CFCs and nitrogen oxides, and also deforestation, increasing the carbon dioxide in the air, expansion of rice growing and cattle rearing. This is increasing the methane levels. Also, rotting material in landfill sites is another source of methane. So these are the activities which are leading to increased amount of gases being added to the greenhouse gases. CFCs, what are these responsible for? CFCs are many times more active than the carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. CFCs are many times more active than the carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, and nitrogen oxides, as we know, they are contained in the vehicle exhaust fumes. So the nitrogen oxides are present in vehicle exhaust fumes, and more vehicles are being used compared to the earlier ages. Then this is leading to more and more emission of nitrogen oxide into the atmosphere, which is building up along with the greenhouse gases, causing more heat to be absorbed, and more temperature is increasing day by day. So of all the greenhouse gases, the largest increase has been in carbon dioxide, which has risen 10% in the last 30 years. In the last 30 years, 10% of the carbon dioxide is increased. The levels of carbon dioxide have risen 10% over the last 30 years. You know, the CFCs, they're being used in the refrigerators and also in the air conditioning systems, etc., and the different aerosol sprays. They are more active than carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, and nitrogen oxides are present in the fumes of vehicular exhaust, and greenhouse gases are increasing day by day. Out of all the gases, carbon dioxide has risen 10% over the last 30 years. What is greenhouse effect? Now, this greenhouse effect is a very important process on the earth. This greenhouse effect is a very important process because of which the life is possible on the planet earth. What is happening? What is the greenhouse effect? It is a natural process without which the average temperature on the earth would be around minus 17 degrees centigrade. Because of the absorption of the radiation, and because of the warming up of the atmosphere and the earth surface and the air to the suitable levels of temperature, it's possible for the living things to survive. And this is the greenhouse effect. The most amount of carbon dioxide is being released from fossil fuels and also from deforestation. So more fossil fuels are being burnt than in the past. Fossil fuels are being burnt more than in the past now, presently. And this is releasing huge amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This is what we just studied. The radiation from the sun, the solar radiation, it warms the earth's surface, and the earth radiates heat energy back into the space in the form of infrared radiation. and some of the heat energy is absorbed by the greenhouse gases, causing the air to warm up. This is the greenhouse effect. Human activity, just now what we studied. Human activity is causing increase in the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases like methane, nitrogen oxide, and CFCs. Because of the human activity, these gases are being added to the greenhouse gases, because of which too much of heat is being absorbed by the greenhouse gases. When too much of heat is being absorbed, it is leading to global warming. Global warming. What is global warming? As too much of heat is being absorbed, the atmosphere is getting warmer. This is increasing the greenhouse effect. Over the past century, over the past 100 years, the surface of the Earth has warmed by 0.7 degrees centigrade. Over the past 100 years, the average temperature of the planet Earth has increased by 0.7 degrees centigrade. And if the temperature of the Arctic and Antarctic regions were to rise above 0 degrees centigrade, the polar ice would melt. If this global warming continues, then the temperature at the polar regions like Arctic and Antarctic areas, if the temperatures of these areas rise above 0 degrees centigrade, then this is a melting point of the ice. So the ice starts melting. What happens when the ice in the polar region starts melting? If the ice starts melting, then the sea level increases, causing floods in the low-lying areas. So again, as too much of heat is being absorbed because of the increased levels of gases due to human activity, which is the increased level of gases adding to the greenhouse gases because of the human activity, there is too much of heat being absorbed by the atmosphere, causing global warming. And over the past 100 years, 0.7 degrees of temperature has increased. And if the temperature at the polar regions increases above 0 degrees centigrade, rises above 0 degrees centigrade, then the polar ice would melt, causing floods, causing the increase in sea level. This is the effect of global warming. We know that this solar radiation being absorbed by the surface, some of it is being reflected back into the space, and some is absorbed by the atmosphere because of the greenhouse gases. And we see here the radiation is radiated back into the space. Here some of the radiation is re-radiated back to the surface because of the atmospheric gases, the greenhouse gases. This is not going into the space, but it is re-radiated back to the surface. So this is all the process of greenhouse effect. And this is the reason why it is re-radiated back, because of the increased amount of gases being added up by the because of the human activity. Then more amount of heat is being radiated back to the surface, causing global warming. This is global warming. Our globe is warming. Effects of global warming. What are the effects of global warming? First of all, as we saw, if the global warming continues, the temperature continue to rise, and if the temperature at the polar regions of the Arctic and Antarctic regions, they rise beyond 0 degrees centigrade, the ice at the polar region, they start melting, and when the ice starts melting, the sea level, it increases, causing floods in different parts of the world. To start with, the low-lying areas, and also many capital cities of the world, they may be flooded. So an increase in sea level flooding many capital cities of the world, this could be first effect, and this may cause change in the wind patterns and distribution of rainfall across the globe. The global warming can cause change in the wind patterns and distribution of rainfall, and this may lead to extreme weathers. So the second effect is change wind patterns and distribution of rainfall, leading to extreme weather. Then the third effect may be massive reduction in the grain crops of Central Asia and Northern America. So massive reduction in grain crops of Central Asia and North America. Another effect of global warming could be the pattern of world's food distribution could be affected with economical and political consequences. So these are some of the effects of global warming. The first effect is an increase in sea level, flooding many capital cities of the world. The second effect would be the changes in the wind patterns across the globe, and also the changes in the distribution of rainfall leading to extreme weather conditions. And the third effect would be massive reduction in the food grains in Central Asia and North America. And also this would uh, have this, this would affect the food distribution in the world with economical and political consequences. These are the effects of global warming. The global warming solutions. What are the solutions for this global warming? How can this be neutralized? How can the global warming be brought back? How can the globe be saved by, from getting warm? So these are some of the solutions. Cutting down on the burning of fossil fuels and reducing carbon dioxide emissions. And the next one is reforestation. Reforestation to restore the Earth's natural balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen. It's the reforestation. And the third solution is recycling materials. Rather than manufacturing new materials, we can recycle the materials such as paper, plastics, metals, especially the paper and this plastics and metals, etc. Greater use of public transport. If we reduce the number of private private vehicles, and people use public transport, then more exhaust fumes can be reduced, more air pollution could be reduced, thereby reducing the nitrogen oxides levels in the atmosphere. And the catalytic converters can be used to remove the nitrogen oxide from the exhaust fumes. These are the solutions. Once again, cutting down on the burning of fossil fuels, reforestation, recycling materials, greater use of public transport, and catalytic converters being used in the vehicles to reduce the nitrogen oxides from the exhaust fumes. These are the solutions. So this is one of the solution is reforestation. We need to plant more and more native plants and more varieties of new trees and plants to counterbalance the deforestation and to reduce the risk of global warming. Thank you. Hope you understood this topic today. See you with a new topic next session. Thank you. Until then, have a nice day.